We've all been there before, strolling on Instagram after midnight, and we come across a couple of lines of poetry, and we're just like, dang, that hit me in my chest. This describes exactly what I'm going through right now. It describes exactly what I'm feeling. I've been there. I was just there the other day. And speaking of Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram at Miyarae_Lee. Shameless plug. I am unashamed. Poetry is everything, literally. If you take away the music from a song, or if you take away the music from rap, or the beat from rap, then what you're left with is poetry. Poetry is how we express ourselves, it's how we communicate, it's how we describe exactly what's going on inside of us, but in a way that the other person can truly feel and understand the experience, and sometimes the hurt, that we are currently feeling at that moment. The fight to prove yourselves to someone who doesn't deserve you is a losing battle. What is there to achieve when the one you want has nothing to give you in return? Where's the benefit in going to war for someone who'd rather fight against you instead of beside you? So we're going to start with the first one, which is by R.H. Sin. And I have actually two books by R.H. Sin. And R.H. Sin is an African-American male. His wife actually is a poet as well, and I believe this one is hers. Yeah, this one, her name is Samantha King Holmes, and they're married, and so they wrote this one together. But they are very, very popular on Instagram. You've probably seen, I don't know how many poems that people repost of R.H. Sin. People get tattoos of their lines on themselves. You know, whatever floats your boat. He puts a lot of men to shame in these books. Like, if you're angry right now, if you're angry at a man, these are the books to buy. A beautiful composition of broken, and we hope this reaches you in time. So the idea of this book is just talking about being brokenhearted and the lessons and how everything you went through apparently, you know, helps you out in the future, and it, you know, makes you a better person, and you learn from the experiences of the relationship or the hurt in the past. So it's good, and it's actually kind of funny too. It has a lot of anger, it has a lot of fun moments as well, and a lot of bitterness in here too, I feel like, in the beginning, but I definitely recommend it. And we hope this reaches you in time is more of, you know, if you're still in the early, I feel like, in my opinion, it's for those who are still in, like, maybe the early stages of a relationship, and you are seeing that it's not so good, or maybe it's in, like, the middle phase of a relationship and you see that it's not so good, and it's encouraging you to walk away now before things get really bad. He's not afraid to use a curse word here or there, so if you like curse words, then he's your guy. They have similar style, both Samantha and R.H. Sin, so no wonder they are married. I don't know why I split myself open for others, knowing sewing myself up hurts this much afterward. This is Rupi Kaur. Everybody loves this lady. She is famous for Milk and Honey. She actually had her start on Instagram, and her poems just took off like wildfire. So I feel like if you are on Instagram and you love poetry and you don't follow her account, what are you doing? And interesting thing enough, during the pandemic, well, we're still in the pandemic, but at the start of the pandemic, when a lot of things were shut down and people had to stay at home, had stay-at-home orders, she was on Instagram giving free writing classes, I guess you'd say, free writing sessions, and I thought that was really nice. And really sweet of her, and you got to learn a lot about how she writes poetry, her suggestions to help you become a better poet if you write poetry. She will have you sharing all of her stuff, and people will be thinking that you are in your feelings, and I know this because I do it myself. But poetry is about feelings, and people shouldn't think that you're sad or in your feelings because you share poetry. Like, that doesn't mean you're heartbroken. I might have been heartbroken. She can be very sexual, I feel like, so you just have to be careful. It's not extreme or anything, but that's part of her style, and I think that's part of the art in her poetry, is that she talks about things that other poets would not be, you know, feel comfortable about, I feel like. Or I should say this, you know, being a female poet, she talks about the body a lot. Something that you wouldn't really hear from R.H. Sin. And if you feel like that's something that you want to do, or if you feel like that's something that you want to read, then I definitely recommend this. I can pick up this book and reread it and never get bored, and it's amazing. Her poetry is always good. She has, I don't know how many followers on Instagram, and I kind of found out about her early on, so it's been cool to see her journey and to find other people, or to see other people find her and really be in love with her words. So yes, definitely a good read. I promised to kiss her 1,000,000 times before I died, 50 a day for the rest of my life. So when I was gone, she could smile knowing there wasn't a place on her I missed. Next is Atticus, another poet that is very known on Instagram, very famous, and a lot of people get his words tatted on him. That didn't make sense. A lot of people get his words tatted on themselves, and he's really great. I mean, I remember when I was following him in college. And my best friend and I would always share his poetry on Instagram. We would share it, of course, on our page, but then also we would like just send it to each other. And we just thought that he understood women so well, and that his poetry was so beautiful. And Love Her Wild, that's the name of this collection. We were so happy when he announced that he would be making it. We were like, what? Side note about this book, my brother actually gave me this book in college, and he signed it 2018. Now you realize that I just lied. Apparently my brother gave this to me after college. This is 2018. But yeah, so yeah, that's right. He bought me this copy in 2018. So a few years ago. And yeah, I remember. And he signed it, and I'm gonna read it to my baby girl. Did you really think I would not have gotten you a copy? I know how much you have wanted a copy of this book. Now you have your own, so read it with pleasure. I love you, wild. Which is so sweet, because the name of the book is Love Her Wild. Isn't that sweet? Okay. Anyways, but yeah, so I really love this book, and it's so pretty. Like, if you love pictures, then you can see. I can show you a couple. It has so much. But that's how on his Instagram, when he posts the poetry, he'll have pictures with it as well. So it's a nice read, and then you get to look at some beautiful pictures. So, or I was a little sad when he began to become very popular, because I considered him like my own little, you know, hidden treasure that nobody really knew about. And when he blew up, you know, I had a little sadness, although I'm happy for his success. This is more of like admiring a woman and her beauty and her attributes and her personality and things like that. They will make you think every person you meet is wearing a mask to hide their fangs, and they will be wrong. Next is to make monsters out of girls. So I actually, well, let me tell you the name of the poet. Her name is Amanda Lovelace. So when I purchased this book, if you can see that it's a little dirty, I'm sorry. But when I first got this book was in January of this year, and it's been out for a while, but I got it in January around my birthday, because I've always wanted this book, because I used to go to Barnes & Noble and I would always see it, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if, you know, I want to get it, but then I didn't want to pay for it, then I wanted to get it, and I didn't want to pay for it. And so on my birthday, I treated myself and I got it. But it was, you know how if you're an avid reader in general, but if you like poetry, then you know you go to the poetry section, you pick up the book, or a regular book, whatever, even if it's not poetry, you pick it up, you flip through a couple of pages, or if it's a novel, you know, go to the back of the book, you read what it's about, or you read the first page, and it captures you. So when I was looking through this book with poetry, it's a little different. You just kind of, for me, I just flip through a couple of pages, and if I read and I like what I see, I buy it. And so that's how it was with this. And I felt like I was in love with it at the store, but then when I got home and read it, it was okay. I could not really keep up with her that much. For me, I felt like it was kind of bitter, and that was all. It was just like bitter, and it kind of made me sad, which that's not a negative thing, but it was just kind of like, it's pretty much you just put all the blame on one person that's not yourself, and that's how I took it. You may read it and think differently. You may read it and actually like it. But yeah, there were a lot of poems in here that I really liked though. And the title gives it away, To Make Monsters Out of Girls, which is in my opinion, after reading it, it's just like going through experiences and relationships and how a person can make you into a monster. But yeah, I read it and then I never picked it up again. So gather from that what you may. Distance often gives you a reason to love harder. This is Pillow Thoughts, Healing the Heart by Courtney Peppermill. And this was actually gifted to me by my brother. So fun fact, so my brother never really liked poetry at all, but I was obsessed with poetry and spoken word growing up, and especially in college. I got really into spoken word. And so my brother would hear me play it all the time. We used to live together our last 2 years in college. And so then he got really into poetry as well. And so he actually bought this for himself last year, I think, or the first one. This is the second one that came out, so I don't know if it was the first one or the second one. I'm not sure. Anyways, he bought this one for me, and of course he signed it. It was really sweet, a little bit, but I'm not gonna read it to you because I read the first one. But he actually gave it to me in July, and it's a really good book. It talks about healing and ways to heal your heart after it's been broken. I feel like a lot of these poems, or a lot of the collection of poetry, follows a certain theme, which is heartbreak and love. Yeah, I don't know. But this one's really good. I really like how Courtney, I like her style of writing. I like how it's very easy to read, very easy to relate to. And she talks about healing in an uncomplicated way. A lot of times you hear people talk about healing and like the steps to heal and all this stuff, and it can just seem so overwhelming, especially when you're trying to heal. But she talks about it, in a very calm and very easy to understand way, and it just seems like you can heal overnight. That's impossible. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. But the way that she's explains it, it seems like you could do it overnight. Relax. This is such a relaxing collection of poems. She kind of calms you down, and she looks at the challenges of heartache and heartbreak and all of that, and it just seems like it's simple to get over, and she just kind of relaxes you in the midst of your feelings. So these are my favorite books, poetry books. This is not my entire collection. I have more up on the shelf that didn't make the cut for this video, but I wouldn't mind going through and showing you guys all of my books. Why don't we just do that right now? I'm just kidding. That video will be forever, and you're probably already bored to death. But I do plan on one day doing more of these because I love poetry a lot, and I love people who appreciate poetry. I love people in general, but if you appreciate poetry, then that's an extra bonus. But yeah, so I plan on doing more of these. So if you have any poetry books that you have at home and that you enjoy and that I should check out, let me know. Comment below, subscribe. I'm just starting out on YouTube, so I'm trying to get this thing going. And especially on BookTube, because I didn't realize that BookTube was a thing. Please don't take away points for me not knowing that BookTube was a thing. I didn't realize it was a thing until I'm not even gonna say when I realized. Anyways, I now know it's a thing, and I'm a part of the BookTube community. Woohoo! But I'll see you guys in the next video, and it will be about, hopefully, it will be about one of the novels that I'm currently reading. So fingers crossed that I get that done within the next week or so. All right, see you next time.